You have 5 minutes, then I'm calling the cops to take your daughter away. That's what she said, standing on my land like a queen without a crown. One hand on her hip, the other pointing at my 10-year-old daughter, Alma, who was doing nothing but reading a book by our pond. Our pond. The same piece of water my family has cared for, fished in, and healed by for over 5 decades. And this woman, Dana Hargrove, president of the Cypress Hills HOA, decided that day she was judge, jury, and executioner. She claimed my daughter was a contamination risk, said children can't be left unsupervised near a water source. As if she knew anything about my child or this land. She even threatened to call CPS, said we'd been flagged. For what, reading a book under a tree? Alma's hands trembled around the pages. I saw it. But she didn't cry. That's not her way. Not since her mama passed. She just stood up slow, holding that book to her chest like it was armor. And when she looked back at me, I saw the question in her eyes. Am I in trouble? Daddy. I walked outside slow, deliberate, not because I wasn't furious, I was, but because I knew that people like Dana, they feed off fear, and I wasn't giving her that satisfaction. Ma'am, this is private property. Dana turned, fast and sharp. Your property ends at the HOA boundary line. She spat, waving her phone like a warrant. And that pond is community property now. I've notified CPS. Your daughter's presence here is already under investigation. That hit me like a brick to the ribs. I looked at Alma, then back at Dana. Alma, baby, go inside for now. But, Daddy, we always read here. I know, sweetheart. Just go. Dana laughed. A short, sharp, cruel thing. You clearly lack the judgment to raise her properly. She strutted back to her car like she'd just delivered divine judgment. 3 minutes, she shouted. Then HOA security's getting involved. As she drove off, neighbors peeked through curtains. Old Mr. Lanning turned his sprinkler off and watched silently. No one said a word. I didn't run to the phone, I didn't pack a bag. I went upstairs, to the closet, moved a stack of winter coats and unlocked the safe I hadn't touched in 3 years. My badge was still there. Sheriff's Star of Bell County. Polished. Untouched. Retired after Alma's mama died. When I walked away from the force to be just a dad. But that woman had just made a fatal miscalculation. She'd come after my kid. I made 5 calls. That's all it took. Judges, prosecutors, folks who knew me, folks who owed me, folks who respected me. And when I walked back out that door, I wasn't just Alma's daddy. I was Sheriff Wyatt McKenzie again. Next morning, the HOA rolled up with red flags and plastic signs, restricted area, no minors allowed. They staked them into our soil like they were claiming territory in a war. Alma watched, her toast untouched, whispering, "They're taking it away." That lit something in me I hadn't felt in years. Not anger, resolve. Then came the fallout. At her art class. Alma was asked not to return. Liability, they said. That word stung worse than any slap. I dug deep into the land records. My dad bought this property in 1972, long before the HOA existed. I found notarized surveys. Clear as day, the pond was outside their jurisdiction. So why did they think they owned it? Because 3 years ago, Dana tried to sneak a vote through. But the official meeting minutes gone. Vanished. Said the secretary. Convenient. And just when I thought I'd hit a wall, Cindy Hargrove, Dana's own daughter, knocked on my truck window. She looked terrified. I have something, she whispered. I can't let her keep hurting Alma. We met at the back of the old church parking lot. She handed me a USB. Everything's on here. 3 years of her schemes. 3 years of, CPS fraud, false signatures, even doctored photos, photoshopped bruises to make it look like Alma was being abused. I stared at her. Why now? Because my little sister's friends with Alma, and my mom called her filth, said she'd poison the community. I can't watch that happen. I took the USB. I listened to every recording. I read every file. I saw messages to a developer, Dana, had plans to build luxury condos. But the pond and my land were in her way. I even found a contingency plan in case I had law enforcement ties. She had fake evidence ready to smear me. Videos, deepfakes, the works. She wanted a war fine. At the next emergency HOA hearing, the room was packed. Livestream rolling. Dana walked in, smiling like a politician on election night. She'd even brought muffins. My lawyer stood, calm. We'd like to call a witness, Miss Cindy Hargrove. The room gasped. Dana's smile vanished. Cindy took the mic and spilled every detail. Then came the recordings. Dana talking about pushing the widower out, about fabricating evidence, about profiting from child removal. The room flipped like a switch. I stood, reached into my jacket. Dana Hargrove, you are under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, forgery, and filing false reports. She sputtered. You're not a cop. I'm the sheriff, I said, loud enough for every camera. And in that moment, it all changed. Neighbors who once stayed silent came up to shake my hand. One lady cried, another hugged Alma. Later that night, Alma slipped her hand into mine and asked, Daddy, did you plan all that? I smiled. Sometimes. You let the bad guys think they've won until they realize they've already lost. Days later, the county board called me in, offered me the sheriff's post again, said they needed someone who stood for the right things. I didn't say yes right away. I wasn't sure I could go back. But that night, Alma brought out a small wooden box, her mama's keepsake. Inside was a note, in Sarah's handwriting, for when you're ready to protect again. I think you should do it, Alma whispered. There are other kids like me. I hugged her so tight. My little warrior. Now, we're starting a ranch program for kids who've been pushed out like Alma. And me, I put the badge back on. So let me ask you this, if your community turned on your child, if the people meant to protect used their power to destroy, what would you do? Because justice doesn't wear a name tag or carry a clipboard. Sometimes it carries a book. Sometimes it carries a badge. And sometimes it carries both. Drop your thoughts below. Was I right to fight back this way? Or did I go too far? Let's talk about what real justice looks like, because I'm not the only parent who's had enough.